Do we have too much government?
We need to put people ahead of corporate profits.
This system is so lopsided.
This threat is a real threat to democracy.
And I think that's really important. That's something we haven't been doing in this country for a long time.
Where do you start? What do you do? How do you do it?
Access to Democracy is sponsored by Thomson Reuters, providing legal professionals with the intelligence, technology, and human expertise they need to find trusted answers. Products include Westlaw, Practical Law, and Firm Central legal practice management software for small law firms. Thomson Reuters, the answer company. Online at thomsonreuters.com. Access to Democracy is made possible in part by a donation from Firefly Credit Union. Firefly is the new name of U.S. Federal Credit Union, which has proudly served the financial needs of the Greater Twin Cities community since 1925. At Firefly, we guide our members forward and give them the power to chase dreams by delivering the financial solutions they need to get ahead. From checking accounts to mortgages, we'll light the way. We are Firefly Credit Union, and this is Life Illuminated. And Dr. Charles Crutchfield of award-winning Crutchfield Dermatology in Eagan, acknowledged as one of the nation's best physicians. A Minnesota native who trained at the Mayo Clinic, Dr. Crutchfield personally treats all patients and states that experience counts and quality matters. Crutchfield Dermatology. Look good, feel great, with beautiful skin.
Access to Democracy. We're back. I'm Alan Miller with Pat Anderson, who has so many credits that we will go over in a few minutes, but started interviewing you when you were the mayor of Eagan.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, Alan.
And that's, well, we're doing this 18 years now, so. And as the Republican National Committee woman for Minnesota, as a Republican candidate, as a former auditor, and now an entrepreneur.
Yeah, back to my roots, really.
Well,
yeah, that's what I've been doing.
It's, the great thing is that Pat is one of those conservative Republicans who comes back all the time. I invite them all. They don't all respond.
No, they're a little afraid of you, Alan.
I don't know why anybody would be afraid of me. I'm just a softie.
Oh, you're a very opinionated host.
Well, that's good. We
Yeah.
want to challenge people. We want to bring out,
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know, what they stand for and what they're all about. And Jason Lewis, I've solicited half a dozen times by phone or otherwise, and no, they're afraid to come on.
Well,
and it's really doing a disservice to the voters because answers some
maybe you need a
questions.
Republican host.
I invited you to come in and co-host, and I hope you take me up on it.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
And we'll bring some of these people in, especially as we get closer to a gubernatorial election.
Yeah, it's going to be a big year this year.
And
lots of open seats, potentially statewide offices.
Well,
Attorney General, State Auditor.
the whole
governor's
House,
seat.
the whole House is up for about a third of the Senate, and all the constitutional officers.
Right, right.
Starting with the governor. So it is a very big year.
Yep. And I think you're going to have quite a race, and assuming Tim Walz is out, you know, out of running for Congress, you're going to have a big race, I think, in the first congressional district.
And of course, Mills is going to go
again.
on a rampage again, no
Yep.
question about that.
Yep. So it's interesting, the way that the state has changed over my time in politics is really interesting. It's becoming where you have a kind of the core, you know, the Democrats are, you know, heavy, overwhelmingly in the core cities, and the rest of the states becoming much more conservative.
The whole country is becoming that, though, really, if you look around.
Yeah.
And it's changed so in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's too bad because you have people are living and interacting with people that think the same as they do. in many cases, and so
And
you
it,
really can see
it
the split.
deprives them of, where the
Alternative
country is
viewpoints.
going
Yeah,
and what this country is going to look like in 50 years,
yeah.
which is what probably frightens Jeff Sessions to death as he goes to
Oh, we'll
sleep
see.
every night
Yeah, I don't think so.
and
I don't.
puts on his white hood. But
Oh, Alan! Ow! No, I don't think the country is becoming more Democrat, more Republican. I just think people are living amongst people that think the way they do, which is why it's so. For example, the Clinton loss was so shocking to most Democrats because everyone they knew was voting for her. Well, but they don't know anyone who was on the other side.
I voted
mean,
for her, no question
yeah,
about it. But I supported Bernie until he
What
withdrew.
do you think of Bernie's or Clinton's book that just came out that's
I think
blaming Bernie for
from
her
what I
loss?
have seen, well,
Or partially.
this is the only person that she hasn't blamed so far. And I have a theory that I've been saying I'm going to write about, but I think that Debbie Wasserman Schultz, in running the Democratic Party and making it an unfair race to prejudice Bernie,
Yeah.
is really the sole person other than Hillary responsible for Donald Trump. Hillary, with her arrogance
Yes.
and her, I'm entitled to it because I've been around for 100 years,
Yep.
certainly didn't fly.
Yep.
Ask the people in Wisconsin.
Yeah, no, I
Ask
agree.
the people in
But
Minnesota.
It was a 1.5 race here.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of people just really voting against Hillary.
And a
due
lot of
to the
people-
arrogance, the things that you talked about,
A lot of
the
people who stayed home.
deplorables comments.
The deplorables,
Yeah.
as we have seen now that we have Trump, was probably an understatement.
No. Am I a deplorable?
Are
You like
a
me
deplor-
enough to say I'm not a
Yeah,
deplorable?
well, I love you, but I mean, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, well, I think that's so offensive
We won't
to people.
talk about that on camera.
Yeah. That I think it's so offensive. Some of the comments that came out of Hillary and come out of the left to a lot of people that it's.
There are things that
It's,
we need in this country. We need a health care program that works. We need Medicare for all. That would solve so many problems and would free people up to really try to better themselves.
Well, the question is, as California is looking at it, how would you pay for something like that? That's what's happening in California. If it's going to pass anywhere, it'll pass there, and they can't figure out where to come up with a huge sum of money that it would cost. It would kind of change everything.
Take a little bit more from the upper 1% like yourself and spread it
There isn't
around
the money
to the
there.
deserving
There isn't
people.
the money there. So,
Especially now, and we should talk about it, you have become an entrepreneur
Again.
since the last time you were here.
Yeah.
And you have opened now 6
I have.
waxing salons.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, it's a franchise, and what's interesting in my lifetime is that when I was, in my previous business career, when I was young, I was mayor.
You are still young compared to me. Are you kidding?
Well, okay, but I'm not that young anymore. But back then, and this is, 25 years ago, it was much easier to open a business, even as a young person. And it's become, over this time period, it's become really franchise oriented too, where everything is a franchise, and that's not how the world used to be.
Yeah.
It's also more difficult from a regulatory standpoint, and which of course the franchise model fits easier into that, right? Because the SBA loans are set up, and so it's kind of I think it's a very negative thing for the next generation because it's really hard for young kids to even able to start a company.
Right, the
It's
individual
bad.
entrepreneur. Yes, if you're starting Apple or something like that, you have a chance to just spurt ahead and become a billionaire. But the fact of the matter is, you can't start a mom and pop store like you used to be able
can't.
to.
You can't.
And they're being eaten up, whether it's in the liquor stores, whether it's in the department stores, whether it's in the cities that are now seeing themselves vacated
Yeah.
by people moving to the suburbs, including for their shopping.
Yeah.
And we're
But
very.
it's because of the regulatory environment and the legal environment. And it's, you have to have an immense amount of knowledge to be able to navigate this now, you know, starting a company. And that's not how it used to be. And even many generations ago, you just hung your shingle, right? You started a bakery, you just hung a shingle. And so what happens to the middle class?
When I was practicing law, and this is going
Yeah.
back a lot of years, I had a small firm. And ultimately, there were 2 or 3 of us in the firm. But today, it's even harder
Yeah,
for an individual.
absolutely.
A lot of lawyers
Yeah.
come out of law school, and it's very difficult for them to get jobs at all.
Yeah. So I don't know the answer because the public is used to, you know, they trust the franchise, but they know the brand, right? You can build a brand, but it's, again, it's not good for the economy. It's not good for the younger generations. It's not good for the middle class.
I agree.
Because that's how the middle class is created.
And I will say that in some areas, I think we have too much regulation, but
Yeah.
in other areas, we don't have enough. And there are certain areas that we should. Now, you've started waxing salons, or you've brought them.
yeah,
to
brought
us
them to
now.
the Twin Cities, right?
I took my car in to get it waxed, and they sent me away. They said, no, this is not what we do. I said, Simonize? They said, no.
No, but we can
So-
fix your eyebrows there, Alan.
What's the
You know?
matter with my eyebrows?
It's a little bushy here.
It's,
We could pluck
I'm
a few
trying
of those
to.
out.
I'm trying to take on a John L.
You know-
Lewis visage.
If you look back at just, it's a salon, obviously. If you look back at the salon industry, you know, 25 years ago, it was one full-service salon, you know, like in Egan here, like a Kohl's salon, where they did everything, right? And then nails started, you know, pretty much, it was the Asians did this, brilliant, pulled nails out of the salon, and the price dropped quite a bit. And it became something that's a luxury that's affordable, that everyone does. The nail salons are everywhere. The price probably dropped by 2/3. And so this is just kind of the next thing that's happening.
So-
Waxing is being pulled out of the big salons. It's a standalone. The price is dramatically lower, quality's higher, and it's something people can afford.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, yeah.
With a scream.
Yeah.
As you pull the
Well,
the
it's
hair
not
off
really.
of somebody's
Yeah,
body.
It's a gentle wax. But
It's
it's
interesting
become
because so many
just what
men
people do.
have gone for the hairless look now.
Yes,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
really interesting.
We have a
You
lot of
look at-
male guests. A lot of, you know, you'll have the older men that are coming before spring break. Their wife sent them in to get their back waxed, so that sort of thing. But you also have just men are just taking care of themselves better. They're grooming their brows and their ears and their chest, and you know, it's a different world than
It is
when
a
we were
different
young,
world.
right? But it's good. It's been really fun, and it's been fun for me because my employees are all generally young women. Most have come out of beauty school. They're estheticians or they're cosmos, and it's not who I was used to working with. You know, I was used to working with, frankly, older men in my career in the past, and so it's really been fun.
I
for
won't
me.
pick up on that at all. But
But they're almost like my girls. You know, it's that sort
so
of.
how many to a salon?
How many what?
How many employees to a salon?
Well, I have
One
about right now. I have close to 80 employees. Yeah.
And
so-
are you expanding yet further? or-
Yeah, yes, maybe there's a few more spots, so probably maybe 3 more stores
Now,
in the
you-
Twin Cities. I'm hands-on. They all have managers, but I like to be able to, you know, be there.
Do they
if I need
quake
to.
when you walk in the door?
No, my employees love me.
It's,
No, it's good. It's all good. So I'm a good boss. I always have been. You know, my different ventures. But it is back to the whole issue of how the business climate has changed. It's really it's almost sad to me, you know, because I have girls that I know are smart and would love to open their own shop, you know. I just know.
And they have to come up with a
They
franchise
could never
fee.
do it.
Right.
Well, that.
compete-
but they couldn't even do it on their
Or
own.
compete with the franchise,
couldn't do it.
and that becomes advertising-wise and otherwise. It
Yeah.
becomes very difficult.
It's very difficult, very very expensive. You know, from the licensing to the legal to the corporate to the. I mean, there's just so much stuff now. It's a shame.
Accounting also.
Well, yeah. So I don't know what's
Well,
going to happen
maybe
to the
in this
world, Alan.
lifetime we will see some adjustment to the ludicrous Internal Revenue Code that we have in this
Yeah.
country. I mean, 27,000 pages.
Yeah.
There are things right with it, but there's a lot of things wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree, and you have favors built in for different industries. And
Yeah.
you have, I mean, it should be. I'm a big believer in a flat tax and no deductions and no maybe home mortgage interest, but you know you can't have government choosing winners or losers, and that's what you have right now.
well, government is so screwed up, and it's of course getting worse under this administration, which hasn't filled.
I think it's getting that. I mean, the one thing
Two-thirds,
Trump's
I mean-
done that I really like is, and no one's watching it because they're watching all his tweets and the crazy, distractions, is that he is really deregulating a lot, and it needed
Well,
to
they
get
say
done.
that every day. We don't know what is going on
It's all-
behind the scenes.
Right.
But
It's heavy deregulation.
yeah,
Yeah.
what we don't need is the EPA being deregulated. What we do need
No, but we certainly didn't need to have a
somebody taking science
civil
seriously.
whatever department in
Look
the
what we
EPA.
have
That was
going
ludicrous.
through right now. We have Hurricane Irma, which is,
Yeah.
as we sit here, about to really devastate
Florida.
Florida, where 3 of my kids happen to
Yeah.
live at the moment.
And European Wax
And,
Center corporate headquarters are shut
and-
down, and they're all gone. Yeah,
And
it's terrible.
so somebody goes in for a waxing, and what's it going to cost them for what?
Well, it depends on what you do. Eyebrows are $20, so it's very reasonable price-wise compared to like what you would have paid in a salon in the past, a full-service salon. And so it's something that everyone's doing, It's affordable.
And you have one here in the new Hy-Vee shopping center, what is it, Central Park Commons?
Central
or
Park, yeah, which I want to say I think that is a fantastic development. I was so excited for Eagan residents to see that actually happen, and the way it was laid out, I think the council did a great job on the whole thing. And
Well, I will
beautiful.
say, and I've said
they
it
are
before.
selling it, by the way, CSM.
Since, pardon?
They're selling it to a real estate trust.
Are they?
Yeah.
I said it when we had the 800-year flood here, and you waded into it, literally waded into it.
Yeah.
We have been very lucky in Eagan to have really great local government.
Yeah.
Taxes are among the lowest of the cities in this state, and yet the services are probably
Very professional
right up
staff. Yeah.
toward the top, toward the highest.
Yeah, incredible staff.
And-
Speaking of, I saw Tom Hedges recently.
Did you?
Yeah, he's
At the opening of,
I don't remember where it was. It
well, they
was,
dedicated a square to him at the.
No, they didn't invite us.
Oh,
In fact, I asked I talked to a couple council members after, but it was Tom wanted it to be very intimate. It was only like a very small group of people. They didn't invite any former council members or mayors, which is too
his
bad.
successor is
So-
also just doing a wonderful job,
Yeah.
as he did,
Yeah.
and we've been very lucky that
Yeah.
the mayor and the council,
Yeah,
are
good.
really good. They don't get involved in partisan politics. They get involved in the good of the city.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been that way
Yeah.
since we live here, which is 20 years
Yeah.
now. And
I tried hard
It's
not to
made
do
for
that,
a
even though I
great
was
city.
very partisan, mentally, as you know.
well,
But all
and some
all
of them
us have
are
always done
today,
that.
but
Right.
not when they're running the city.
Right,
And, to their credit, to your credit, and
Yeah.
to the people in between.
Yeah.
It's been one of the reasons that Eagan was and is a great place to live.
Yeah, yeah.
And now, of course, the Vikings are coming here.
I think that's huge.
Cedarvale
Huge,
is gone,
huge.
and we have that great outlet mall down there, to say nothing of Central Park Commons.
Yeah.
And
It's just about done,
just
right?
about.
I mean, how
We've
much
lost
land
a
is left?
couple of golf courses.
Well, they're disappearing everywhere. People aren't
And-
playing golf. Oh, I haven't played golf in 10 years, I bet.
Which is why I'm glad I'm a bowler. But, but bowling alleys are disappearing also.
They are, yeah.
And,
It's a new world. So,
Well, people don't want to talk about being in the gutter. Throw a ball in the gutter. No, it's become a lane.
that's a bad joke.
You know, it goes into the lane
Yeah.
and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But,
No, things are good. So I hopefully, well, by the time this airs, we'll know about the hurricane. But hopefully, we'll
I
limit
certainly
the
hope so. There
people
was
that
just
are
a
affected.
devastating earthquake in Mexico today.
Yeah, I heard that.
Which is
What's going on with the world? And Kim Jong-il wants
it's
to nuke
called
us. And
climate change,
no,
which certain people and parties don't acknowledge. But the fact of the matter is, you don't have to be a mental giant to realize that we have brought most of this on ourselves with carbon and with coal.
Alan,
and
I don't
things
want to
like
sit and
that.
debate it, but I disagree with you. But I do think the climate's always changing. We know that, and it always has. So,
Well-
and I think there's bigger issues like all the garbage in the ocean. Why isn't anyone talking about the trash in the ocean, which is incredible? There's things of trash the size of Texas in the middle of the ocean.
Floating in the ocean, yes,
that's
absolutely.
horrible. And that to me is a worse issue. Plastics are a problem, I think.
Plastics have been a
They
problem.
don't biodegrade. It's a real issue.
Again,
So.
we need a progressive, aggressive attack on some of these things.
But I think that issues like, you and I try to find some common ground, usually. We try. I think an issue like the plastics issue, that is not a partisan issue. And I think that conservatives and liberals could agree that we need to do things so that things biodegrade.
Yeah, unfortunately, conservatives and liberals or progressives or whatever you want to call them have become so partisan
Yeah.
that it almost in and of itself stops people getting together for the good of the whole.
Yeah, it stops progress.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
look at the Republican Party nationally in this last week, because Trump made an
Had a
agreement
deal
with the
Dems,
Democrats,
yeah.
and they're hysterical.
Yeah.
It's as though they were stabbed in the back. The fact of the matter is, they did two things that were very necessary, and
Yeah, I agree.
you should.
I do agree. And
should
and
go
I think you're going to
forward.
see a lot of that from Trump, because Trump, as you know, used to be a Democrat, and no one really
He
knows
used
what
to
he
be
is.
everything.
Yeah, I mean, no one really knows what he is politically, and I think it's been this is September right now, and it's been 8 months, and Congress has gotten almost nothing done in my mind except one judge, and that's incredible, incredible that they've done
Yeah,
nothing.
Congress has gotten nothing done, but one judge, except the man who should be that judge, didn't even get a hearing.
Oh, whoa.
And
I don't
the
wanna debate
man
that.
who's now sitting there got there by turning the really Senate on its head and abandoning rules that have been there for decades. And we could go on. We could do a whole program
I'm not going to
on
debate
that.
with you. All right, but I think that you're going to see a lot more of that with Trump cutting deals
See,
on different things.
My own feeling is that the man is mentally unbalanced, and he's certainly a misogynist and a narcissist and a lot of other things. But notwithstanding that, it is possible that things could get done if people would just put their partisanship aside
Right.
and think about the welfare of everybody.
And I think that's what the public wants. And I think that's what part of the appeal of Trump during the campaign is that he was anti-Washington, period. He was going to go in there and be a bull in the china shop and won both parties. He went after the Republicans as much as the Democrats, and that's appealing because I think that's what the public wants. They
Well, the
want
people wanted
things to be
something
run
else.
like Egan has run, for example.
Would have been a great challenge if it had been Bernie against Trump, and I do think that Bernie would have won. But
I don't know.
I don't know that I'm going to go out and
Could be.
buy
I don't know.
and buy Hillary's book. Trump, of course, doesn't have a book because he doesn't read books. He does have a book and crayons, I know that, but
I might buy Hillary's book, even though I don't want to enrich her, just because I want to see who she blames besides Bernie for her failure.
take it out of the
you know.
library.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So,
Yeah, it's
you know, to me, Hillary's. I mean, it wasn't just the Bernie stuff, but it was. She was so offensive, and to people.
I dread the fact that she's going out on a book tour,
Yeah.
because I think that can negate a lot of the progress that Democrats have made around the country in the 8 months of Trump, because she has become a turnoff, absolute turnoff.
Yeah, but Alan, don't you think the Democrat Party right now is in a civil war?
No, I just think that they better find
I
a
think you're in a
leader,
civil war.
settle on that leader. Well, it's no different than the Republican Party and
Tea
the
Party.
Tea
It's-
Party,
right,
which is now the
right.
Freedom Caucus.
Right.
It's the same thing, and the Democrats are going through it
Right.
with the progressive wing and
Right.
the
Yeah.
old line Democrats.
I mean, the
And
progressives are taking out the liberals. It's really interesting. I mean, Pelosi has a primary challenge. That's insane.
It's
And but they're,
there is a group going after Paul Ryan. I mean,
yeah,
you can't make sense out of some of this stuff,
yeah.
and
Well, I'm glad to not be there then. So
well.
At least not in the
how
thick of
about getting some of those Republican candidates to have
maybe
the courage
we'll talk
to
about
be
it
interviewed?
after the show.
Specifically, Jason Lewis, because I think that Angie Craig is going to eat his lunch this year, and
Well, if they if they're willing to come, they probably don't want you sitting next to them.
well, that's
So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's why we have you. You're more than welcome. You can use this
So,
forum.
prediction for the governor's race? Do you have one?
Until we know who the candidates are, I wouldn't even touch that one.
But the Dems will have a primary, you think, for sure?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is that they'll adhere to the result of the primary, while the Republicans won't. But that's anyway. We've been talking with Pat Anderson,
All right.
who is a little bit of everything: politician, entrepreneur, friend, and always fun.
Yeah. It's good to see you.
Come back again soon,
I will.
and bring some candidates with
I
you.
will, Alan.